Hello and welcome to the Responsive Family Sleep Podcast. I'm your host, Kim Hawley, holistic sleep coach, lactation consultant, peaceful parenting educator, and mom. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by all the conflicting sleep info, frustrated with sleep information that just plain felt wrong, or searched desperately for a truly gentle and responsive sleep approach, then you are in the right place. In each episode, we'll be answering your most pressing baby and toddler sleep questions, busting those sleep myths, and helping you understand truly developmental, biologically normal baby and toddler sleep, plus encouraging you to trust your intuition along the way. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. This week, I wanted to talk about a simple checklist or way of thinking through sleep when it suddenly gets harder, right? When sleep just was okay, or maybe it was good, and suddenly it feels like it's all going off the rails, falling apart. You just have no idea what's going on. And it's really easy to be like, oh my God, and panic, right? Like, what is going on here? What do we have to change? Is it because we were nursing to sleep or bed sharing or didn't have them going down drowsy but awake or didn't teach them to self-soothe or, all the big sleep myths and sleep scapegoats come out and make us feel awful and doubt ourselves. And it's just like, what is going on here? When the reality is, there's often some really straightforward reasons that sleep might suddenly be getting harder. I'm not saying that means the answer is straightforward, but I find that when we can understand what's going on, first of all, it gives you things to try. And secondly, it gives you a deeper understanding. And when we understand, we often cope better. So let's go through where I initially think about big top things and where I think you should start when sleep suddenly gets tricky. So first thing is development, right? Are they learning a new milestone? Having a big cognitive or language shift, right? Development is really one of the hugest drivers of sleep changes for good and for hard, right? And so often these times when we're really struggling with sleep have to do with big developments. So, rolling over, learning to crawl, learning to walk, separation anxiety, big language shifts. They all tend to come with a period of messy sleep. And that is just the brain is so busy consolidating, mastering, practicing, rewiring, that it becomes much harder for them to let go and fall asleep. And so they often wake more and they often need more support. So look for those signs, right? Are you noticing those signs of working on crawling? Is your baby just this close to walking, right? All of a sudden, do they have like a million more words? Because sometimes that's it. It's just development. And while there can be things going alongside that we'll kind of get into in a minute here, right? If it's development, often it just needs to run its course. So, development is my first thing, right? Next is, have we had a big shift in their sleep needs? So, are they ready to be awake a bit longer? Do they need a bit less sleep overall? Is it time to drop a nap? And that can be a big one, right? Sometimes it's gradual, it's slow, it happens really organically, and that's lovely. And sometimes it feels like one day your sleep rhythm is working and the next it's really not. And so this can be a time to reflect on, do we need to make some shifts in those sleep timings? And is that going to help? Another one that I find creeps up on families is simply like, do we need to change up what's happening when they're awake, right? And I'm thinking here about activity, movement, stimulation, changes of scenery, and connection. And so I feel like this catches up with families sometimes over those older baby months into those younger toddler months where suddenly they just need more, especially for active kiddos as they're starting to become more mobile, they're starting to become more social, and suddenly they just need more, right? And it can still feel like you're doing a lot. And for the really active kiddos, the really big body physical kiddos, they need even more. And so I think this is an area to kind of think about, experiment with, see if that is helpful. Of course, we don't want to overstimulate them. And I don't want parents driving themselves absolutely crazy in an unsustainable way, trying to cram in stuff. But this is an area where I often see shifts happening that some adjustments to how we're thinking through our days and stimulation activity can make a big difference. Has life been extra busy lately, or more stressful lately, or off routine for some reason? Because these things can really creep up on us and seem like small things to adults, but kind of cascade down and become much larger things to a child's sleep. And so reasons why being busy, being off routine, being stressed might affect sleep is our sleep timings could be off, right? Our bedtime routine could be a little bit more spotty. We might not be slowing down to connect with our child and be fully present in the ways they need. And this is normal. I'm not saying this like criticism. This is just the small things, right? It happens. If life has been stressful, we might not be doing a great job helping them feel, them have that co-regulation, right? Because if we're really stressed, our littles pick up on that, and then that's going to in turn affect their sleep. So if life's been kind of chaotic lately, then we need to bring some intention. And I'm not saying we can make it perfect, especially if there's lots of really stressful things going on that you don't have control over. But the more we can bring some intention, right? The more that you can say, okay, I've been feeling really stressed lately. What can I do just to bring that stress or that anxiety down, 10%? Just to be a little bit more calm, a little bit more present, right? Or if life's just been really busy, okay, what can we do that's one step to get back into a normal routine and have a bit more predictability, a bit more consistency, right? So we don't need perfection. Where's that one step that we can take? So that can have a big impact with sleep. And this episode is releasing in December. And so, this is the key time for life being a little off routine, right? And so if we pair some developmental shifts, right, with some maybe sleep need shifts, and then we're just a little bit off routine because we've been traveling a lot or have lots of visitors or stressed by, some things. And you can see how all those might come together, and it can be very messy, right? And then, of course, obviously, babies can get sick and they can be teething. And so if they are uncomfortable, their sleep is not going to be as good. That's just a given, right? And then sort of last but not least is sometimes the sleep soothing tools that we had been using that may have been very effective are just not as effective, right? I almost always come here last, right? Because if it's a sleep pressure, sleep timing issue, or a regulation issue, or a routine issue, or an activity issue, energy like flow issue, all of those things could suddenly make a tool that isn't working work again. But sometimes we do need to change things, right? Maybe it used to be great rocking your child to sleep, and suddenly they're just not settling down that way anymore. Or they used to nurse straight to sleep and you felt like it was the best superpower ever. And now they're like throwing themselves all over the place and, not settling down. So normal kind of mainstream sleep information says, we got to change how they're falling asleep. They got to get sleep independently, blah, blah, blah. I say, back it up. Look at everything else on this list first, and then if we've optimized all those things and it's still not working, then maybe that's the time to consider changing it up, right? And of course, if you're also really ready to be done with whatever you're doing that is soothing them to sleep, then that, makes that more of a priority. But if we're just looking at it from supporting their sleep perspective, right, we want to troubleshoot all the other things first, because that will really tell us if the tool is working or not. under good conditions? And if the answer is still, it's not, or your answer is, I'm done anyway, right? I'd like to change this anyway, then that change is going to go more smoothly when we have good conditions for sleep. So just kind of wrapping it up, right? Our big checklist whenever sleep suddenly gets harder or you feel like you're shifting into a really messy phase is development, right? Have their sleep needs changed? Do they need more activity, stimulation, connection? Has life been extra busy, stressful, or off routine lately? Have they been teething or are they sick? And then are your sleep soothing tools not working, not down-regulating in that same level of effectiveness as they were before? So I hope that gives you some scaffolding, a little bit of structure for how to think through those messy spots with sleep and maybe feel a little less overwhelming and like suddenly you've done everything wrong and, sleep is really just chaos, because those chaotic times, they come for most of us with parenting around sleep. So I hope this gives you a way to think through it. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this episode left you feeling more informed, confident, and encouraged on your sleep journey. And just a reminder before you go that nothing in this episode is individualized to your specific sleep situation, nor is it to be taken as medical advice. Take what resonates, ignore what doesn't, and check with your healthcare provider about any medical concerns. Take a moment to subscribe to this podcast so that you'll never miss an episode. And take a moment to rate, review, or share an episode you love on social media. All of that helps parents just like you find me, this podcast, and this gentle and responsive sleep information. I'll see you next time.